Okay, good afternoon. It's 4:01, so we'll go ahead and get started here today. This class is going to be on I call customer etiquette and how to approach customers. My name is Chris Elam. I'm the East Central Service Advisor. Service I'm really passionate about. Fortunately, when I started many years ago, I was able to attend some of the better service trainers, Charlie Greer, Rick Hutcherson, uh, Steve Kasha. They really drill down how to deal with customers. Um, and a lot of it's simple, but just a few things can make a great experience or a positive or a poor experience. Um, I just had a carpet cleaner come to my house a couple weeks ago. Um, Great experience. He showed up right on time, very professional, clean cut. Um, Asked permission to do everything, go everywhere. It was just a perfect experience, um, and that's what customers expect these days. So that's what you really want to give them. So I'm just going to try to go through a few things on how I ran service and what I did. Um, if you take a few key takeaways, that'll make your day and make your customers more experience better. It'll be beneficial. So in the chat feature, I put my name, my email, my phone number. If you ever have service questions, feel free to give me a call, send me an email. If you have any questions as we go along, feel free to type them in there, and then once we're done, we'll go back over them. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Okay. Okay. So like I said, this is what I call customer etiquette and service training. Um, a lot of it's just simple. A lot of you guys do it anyways, um, but it can really make the difference. Uh, of your company's reviews, your customers' experience, and it can, if you do the right things, you can increase your earning potential tremendously. So we'll get started here. So best practices whenever you're interacting with customers to provide exceptional customer experience. The biggest one is smile, uh, be pleasant. That sounds simple, but even my own technicians, yeah, I used to cringe sometimes the stuff they would say and how they would act. It drove me nuts. But just a simple smile when you first meet a customer, that goes a long way. That starts the trust, makes them feel warm and fuzzy. Uh, Nothing is worse than someone showing up who makes it obvious they don't want to be there. I had a couple technicians uh, act like that. Um, it's not a pleasant experience for the customer. They really can't wait but to get you out of the house. Um, I myself, I could go from being furious, even cussing and carrying on, but if I spoke to a customer, it was like a light twitch. Now all of a sudden it's super nice. Uh, I never let them see any kind of anger or being upset. So even if it's 85 degrees at 7 o'clock on a Friday night, show up with a smile. Um, they'll appreciate that. That'll go a long way. Um, be polite. Uh, Introduce yourself, what company you are with, and then tell them what you're there to do. Um, the husband or wife may have made the appointment. They may have no idea who you are, what company you're with, or what you're there to do. So just explain who you are, your company, and what you're there to do. And then a big one is never prejudge customers. Um, Appearances can be deceiving. Um, I've seen this transpire many, many times. You can have a person living in a $500,000 house, that may not be able to afford a simple capacitor repair. You may have somebody that's living in a modest house who can write a check for a brand new $10,000 system and not bat an eye about it. So never prejudge the customers by their houses, their cars, their clothes. That really, well, sometimes it means something, but don't take that to be the gospel. A lot of times that will get you in trouble. Um, I know years ago when I first started selling, certain houses I would push, 80% 13 SEER, 90% 13 SEER, because you thought, well, they may not have the money. And I learned the hard way that way. Um, so once you kind of learn that, you know, don't take that. I had a lady just moved into probably a $500,000 house, and it took her like four credit cards to pay for a simple capacitor. So never let appearances sway your judgment. I chose this little angry cat here because he looks pretty mad. First impressions, you only get one chance to make a good one, and that can set the tone for the entire experience. My dad, when I was younger, always preached, you know, first impressions, and we all experience that. If you see a person show up in a nice car, that's an impression. If you see them pull up in a horrible car, something that's dirty, unkept, um, there again, you have another impression. Um, so when you first walk up, they get one look at you. It can start out really, really bad, or it can start out really, really good. So bear that in mind. Um, the old rule was call when you're on the way. A lot of places now, they'll email customers, text message customers, but make sure that the customer is aware that you are on the way and when to expect you. I always park on the street if possible. Sometimes you can't. Number one, some vans leak oil. You don't want to leak oil in a driveway. Um, you don't want to block, their cars in or block the next person that would pull in after you. Plus, if you park on the street, especially visible for them, they can see your van. They know who you are. It's obvious, who you're with. Another big one is company uniforms. A lot of companies use ID badges, and pretty much everybody uses shoe covers now. You should always use shoe covers of some sort. Sometimes it's just to protect your own shoes, but it doesn't matter. You're in somebody else's house, whether it's a $1 million house or, a not so nice house. It's still their house. That's their castle. Uh, make them feel make them feel special. Um, I don't know how many times I always wore shoe covers. Um, some of my other technicians would get a little lax with that, and the customer say, "Well, the last guy didn't wear shoe covers. What do you say?" Well, he was supposed to. He didn't. So that sets a bad tone. So now a little more on company uniforms. Um, kind of leads into the next one, professional appearance. Um, Shirts that aren't tucked in. Some, for work, if you're an installer, service guy, at least when you get there, make sure your shirt's tucked in so you look professional. Um, I was preached that years ago, and we would never even approach a customer's house without our shirts tucked in. Um, Now, once you're there and you're working, if your shirts come out, so be it. Take your work shirt off, have your company T-shirt on, whatever. But whenever you arrive, you do want to be look the professional part. That's what we're expected to be. Company uniforms. You don't have to wear the white shirts that some people do. You can wear any kind of shirts that you want to wear, and that's fine. Um, some guys, and I did the same thing. I used to iron my uniforms. There again, it sets you apart from the next guy. because that's really all this is. You want to show up, be the professional. You want to wow them because chances are you're going to, well, they're going to be spending some money. In some cases, they may be spending a fair amount of money with you. So you want them to feel uh, comfortable with you. There again, smile. Always smile, be positive, and appear happy to be there. Whether you want to be anywhere else in the world besides there, at least pretend to be happy to be there and happy to help them. They will appreciate that. That may make the difference from whether the customer gets a second opinion or they purchase the repair or the system from you. Because what this really boils down to is the better the customer experience, the more money uh, the company makes, which should in turn be the more money you make. I'm gonna pause this real quick. Make sure everybody's muted here. Okay. Back to the screen here. Well, for some reason, it's not wanting to go back. There we go. Okay. This is one some people have trouble with, and I kind of did for years. Using their name while interacting with customers. Some customers, when you meet them, they'll say, "My name's Jim, Bob, or whatever." Uh, they've given you permission to speak to them and refer to them by their first name. Um, that's good. Using a customer's name makes them feel more comfortable, gets them more engaged. I'm not saying be a used car salesman, you know how they do, but from the same token, you want customers to feel comfortable with you. So use their first names if you can. Um, for years, I had a bad habit of using the word ma'am and sir, just out of respect, which I never thought to be a problem. But if they told me their name, I would refer to them as their name. Do be careful today with using ma'am and sir. Obviously, that can get you in trouble today with certain things. Older people, they like to be referred to as ma'am and sir. Just be respectful. Treat all customers with respect and empathy. If you've been a technician for a period of time and you've told customers they have to have a huge repair or new systems, I've had more than a few people start crying because they maybe didn't have the money to or weren't expecting to do that. So treat them with respect. Show some empathy because nobody necessarily wants to jump up and spend thousands of dollars for a new air conditioner. Some people may not be able to or may not be in the position to, so it can be upsetting. So be empathetic to them, show some sympathy, and then try to work with them. And this is a big one. You're in their home or business, no matter how great or how bad it is, treat it all the same. Doesn't matter because regardless, it's their place, it's theirs. It's obviously something for them. So I always show respect to their property. Stay polite when you're talking to customers. Don't interrupt. They used to say you have two ears and one mouth. Use it accordingly. Listen. When the time is right, talk. Don't interrupt customers. Do take genuine concern in customers' questions and concerns. They don't do this for a living. They don't maybe understand it. So you've got to kind of simplify things for them sometimes so they understand it. If they're asking you a question or showing a concern, it's obviously important to them, or they wouldn't bring it up. So do make every effort to address customers' concerns. I've seen customers ask about humidifiers, and technicians will just completely blow them off. Well, you just lost a humidifier sale. Or if they ask about indoor air quality, um, some guys just completely blow it off. Um, so they've now lost a sale. The customer would not have asked that if it wasn't important to them. You know, there's a reason why they asked that. Now they may not be willing to spend the money for it, or they may. You just don't know. If you leave it unaddressed, um, it's a wasted opportunity. Another big one is make customers feel valued and appreciated. Um, it costs a lot of money to get a customer, and it costs a lot of money and to keep a customer. So if you make somebody angry or show them poor service, you've just lost all that time and effort trying to even gain one customer. Always say please and thank you. Mean it. If you're honest and genuine with people, uh, they will uh, they'll see that, and you should get the same response back. I'm not saying you won't run into some knuckleheads out there, because there's plenty of them out there, but most people will recognize that and they'll appreciate that. So the customer current concerns is huge. Um, because I would always say, is there are you any issues that you're having with your system or anything out of the ordinary? So I just kind of gave them a blanket question. Anything that they're concerned about, or any questions or issues, they can lay it on me then. Um, a lot of times that opens the door for other things. So it could be indoor air quality, humidity, thermostats, Wi-Fi devices, whatever it is. So listen actively. Um, if they've really got a lot to say, um, make notes of issues, and then think about possible solutions. Solutions equal money. Don't lie or guess or just make up a answer. Um, I mean, you might be okay with that. Some people might get close enough and it'll be okay, but you don't want to lie and make up a wild guess. And they find out you made it up, because that's going to come back to bite you. Um, if you don't know an answer for something, and a lot of times people don't. People call me for things. If I don't know the answer, I find out, follow up with them. Um, Big thing, make notes of what their issues are. If you don't know, find out the answer and follow up. Um, that can turn into IAQ products. It can turn into uh, service plans. It can turn into whole systems, whatever it may be. We are there. We are expected to be the professionals, and we are expected to provide solutions. They didn't want to call, some hack off, wherever, to come out there and just, put some Freon in there and head on down the road. Um, Most people, if they're out there and they're asking you questions and they're, you know, letting you know problems or concerns they have, they're looking for solutions. Solutions equal more business, and more business equals more money. Um, Key is the right solutions. The right solutions may not be 20 SEER inverter with a modulating furnace. A lot of times that's not the answer. That could compound and make a problem worse. Uh, if you pay attention and dig into where their concerns are, um, you can usually find multiple solutions, um, and that's the best way to do it. Offer multiple solutions, maybe stage solutions, so you're not hitting them with a huge amount all at once. Um, Address their problem, offer them solutions. It's up to them how they choose to proceed from there. Most expensive is not always the only answer or the best solution. Um, there's plenty of most expensive solutions out there, and you can always want to incorporate those if they're valid. Um, but that may not be the best solution. Um, I've had people call me before wanting a whole new system, and their system's like 2 years old. So if I sell them a new system, what are the odds that that new system's going to be any better than that 2 year old system? Not a whole lot. So there's more underlying issues. Could be insulation, it could be ducting, it could be any number of things. So don't always look for the most expensive, but look for the best solution for their problems. Don't talk over customers. I've seen guys do that. Listen to them. People like to talk, so they want you to listen. As a technician, this is a good one I learned a long time ago. As a technician, they don't expect a salesperson. You're there with a service uh, capacity, so they're going to trust you. Really more so than if I say, "Hey, let me get a salesperson out here." Their guard goes up because they don't want to buy anything. So listen, as a technician, be their friend, be honest with them, and they will trust you. Now, this is a big one. Um, Interacting with women and couples. Um, this is huge. Let me stop this here so I can mute who's ever on. Uh, there we go. Okay, this is huge. Whenever you're interacting with women and couples, um, this is huge because when I used to be a technician or even doing sales, a lot of times I dealt with the uh, woman, girlfriend, whatever, wife. She was there. Now sometimes they use that to run interference, so nobody has to try to hard sell them, which is fine. Um, but even as in a service aspect, um, this is huge. Never talk down to a woman or assume she won't understand. I've had more people get upset with that, um, just because they're a woman or whatever it is. Some, they may know a lot more than you think they do. And if you treat them like they don't understand or like they won't understand, you you've just killed it. Also, simplify issues really, so anyone can understand or relate. Not everybody does heating and air. Um, not everybody's a computer person. If somebody's explaining computers to me, they've got to dumb it down so I understand it. If they do a good job with it, I won't feel stupid and I feel like I learned something. So simplifying issues so anyone can relate. And this is a huge one here. Never assume uh, a woman or the wife can't or doesn't make the decisions. If you go in there with the assumption of that, and the old thing is, well, or will both decision makers be there? In a perfect world, yeah. But don't assume that the woman or wife can't make a decision. You know, if you do, you're making a horrible mistake. Um, what I can promise you is if you ignore them or make the wife or girlfriend or whoever it is, if you make them mad and you ignore them, what I can promise you is you may as well pack up and leave because you've already killed the sale or the service. Um, so show them the same attention that you would show anyone. Don't don't make assumptions. I took a class on this like the first year that I was running service many years ago. At the time, I thought, oh, this is going to be a great class. Not really good class. It turned out to be one of the best classes ever. So, like the very next day, I took what I learned, and all of a sudden, it made sense. So now, when I'm interacting with two people, I'm going back and forth. You know, and unless they just totally don't want to be, involved. But usually they will. If you give them the opportunity, they will be engaged with you. So when interacting with couples, make sure you engage both. Um, Above all, pay special attention to the wife or to the woman. Um, if you ignore them or you make them feel ignored, like they're not part of the deal, I can assure you that you will not get the sale. But if you include them and keep them engaged and make them feel like they're special and they're part of the deal, well, now you might, just because you've won her over, you may actually have a better chance of getting the sale versus the next guy or the guy before who didn't. Um, I've seen this happen many, many, many times. Um, just think about car sales. Uh, I can tell you probably 4 or 5 times when me and my wife went looking for cars, and I said, "This is cars for her." Well, they immediately pay. They start talking to me. It's all about me. It's about horsepower. It's about this, about that. I don't care. It's not my car, you know. And then within a couple of minutes, my wife will just say, "Come on, let's go." At that point, she wouldn't buy the car if you gave her a good deal. Now, the good salespeople, they will, since I know I can watch it and I can see it happening. A good salesperson, they'll include both people, or if there's 3 people, 4 people, they include everybody. Because usually no one person makes the sale, but if you make one mad, they can prevent your sale. So that's huge. So whether you're interacting with, well, the class was women and couples, so that's the way I kind of worded it. But you know, a lot of people do it. Um, if just start taking special consideration when you're dealing with um, the woman of the house. Treat them as you want your mom to be treated, as your wife to be treated. It will go a long way for you. And then this is huge now today. Always was. But watch what you say and how you say it. Avoid politics. Um, that was always a subject you wanted to avoid, but now today more so than ever. Um, I can argue politics with the best of them, but when it comes to a customer service uh, role, avoid politics at all costs. If you have a customer who wants to keep talking politics, uh, whether you agree with them or not, sometimes you're better off just to say you agree with them, uh, just so they're
100%.
happy and
I'll agree with them no matter what they
everything.
say, dude.
Let me. Okay, so yeah, so avoid politics at all costs. Avoid religion. That can obviously cause some issues. Really avoid sensitive topics altogether. If a customer wants to keep, uh, talking about it, agree with them, whether you do or don't, just make them happy. Don't use inappropriate language under no circumstances. Um, that can really upset people. And there's a few terms here. Avoid these because I've seen customers get super, super upset because they just don't, you know, um, just sounds bad, I guess. Um, so avoid terms like gas cocks and nipples. You know, that's what they're called. That's what they are. Um, but a more professional way to say that uh, would be use gas shut off or gas piping, section of piping. I've seen more people get offended by that, and then you have to turn around and explain to them, oh, that's what they're called, and they're happy with it, but they're already pissed off. So avoid terms that could be offensive at all. Um, and remember, customers, they want to like you. Um, they called you out there for a reason. They expect you to be a professional. They want to like you, so don't give them a reason not to. And then make every effort to resolve any issues they have. Um, I used to change light bulbs for little old ladies, customers of mine. I ask them, is there anything else you need me to do? If they ask me to not cut their grass or something like that, but if there's an old lady or something, could you take my trash out? Sure. Need a light bulb changed? Sure. Because that makes them feel special and they will remember you. And like I say, when I first started training, our whole goal was to build our own customer base within the company. Um, so the better service you provided, the better customers that only requested you. And so during slow times, you know, the good guys were never slow. We always had people that would only want us, that only requested us. So that's part of the wow experience. There again, leave them with the wow feeling. When you leave, they should be happy, uh, and you really want to exceed their expectations. I don't know how many times just any service, uh, like you get a bad service, it's what you expect. You get somebody that treats you good and nice and professional. You're like, wow, that was really nice. You know, um, I will definitely use that service or company again, and I may not mind paying extra for that if that's the service I want to receive. And that is how you keep customers, because keeping customers is the name of the game. And then they want you to uh, refer your company to their friends, their family, next door neighbor app, any kind of Angie's List, um, anything like that. Referrals are low hanging fruit, basically. Um, they know who you are. They're expecting good service. They're referred, they're referred to them. You should be able to go out there and knock it out of the park. Easy. So referrals is what you're wanting to give them. Give them that wow feeling. So it's a little shorter than I think what the class was listed as there. Um, but next week there'll be a tune-up class, which will kind of incorporate some of this, as well as best practices for tune-ups as well. Because as monotonous as tune-ups are, um, they're a good way to, number one, keep busy. Number two, make money. Number three, keep your customers happy. So I'll take the time here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute there and ask away. Okay, well, everybody's unmuting, so I'll assume no questions. So uh, thank you for taking the time today. And like I say, next Wednesday, I think same time, we'll have a tune-up class. So y'all have a good day, and thanks for the time.